So, morning everybody, and thanks very much for joining on the call today. When I decided that I was going to look at doing some of these videos to cover some of the interesting aspects of the hobby that some of our fellow hams cover, the first person that came to mind is Braco. So I was really pleased that you agreed to do this and be the first guinea pig, as it were, on these videos today. So Braco, I think the first time we met was probably in Italy, wasn't it? A few years ago at the
I First, good morning to everyone, and nice to be here. Exactly, I think that was for it was a contest. No, it
Contest
was
University, I think.
contest university. Yeah, yeah, in Italy. It must be like almost 10 years ago when we
Sure, yeah,
met in person. Yeah,
yeah, a
something
long
like that.
time.
Back in 2015, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, so I'm sure that's something which we'll cover off because I know you mentioned this is one of your big delights in ham radio, so to speak. So just before we go on, could you just introduce yourself, a name, call sign, and how long you've been around as a ham, and perhaps what got you interested in the first place?
Yeah. Well, I'm E77DX, and I'm also E1 EMS. So I live actually in Austria, in Vienna, but I'm originally from Bosnia. So in 1992, I moved because of the war to Vienna. So I'm ham since 1987, and the main reason why I stuck in the hobby was actually that days. I was like in the age of 13. I was playing a lot with the computer, and the local radio club got some PC there, which was, let's say, more powerful than I used to have. So I stuck there because I was curious what I can do and what we can make with this one. And so I get opportunity there to visit the class for a license. And what I always say is that I failed the first exam. So, and probably that was the reason why I stuck,
Right.
because everyone else from that class, they were able to operate. I wasn't, and then I get pushed a lot, and yeah, that was the beginning.
Okay. So, if we go to what it is that you do now as your business, so to speak, could you just sort of highlight what it is that you're doing day to day?
Well, I'm now doing a lot ham radio business. So I have a small company which is doing the ham radio business since 2013. Our, like, say, main job are installed of antenna repairs. I do repair equipment, and we have as well some sales here, which is not our main job, but if you have opportunity to sell something, it's okay. And from the years before, I have still have some, let's say, some business in transportation, which is, let's say, more or less running from alone. So it's nothing, not much to do. It's just a side business, and that was something what I was doing before, but I stopped doing everything else back in 2014. So I was in computer business as well, doing some software and hardware sales. But in 2014, I stopped that, and since that time, I'm let's say, more or less occupied with a ham radio business.
Okay. And when you're referring to antenna repairs and installation, a lot of the people and many of the followers on the Moonraker page are in the UK. So installing an antenna is something that's 20 or 30 feet in the air. I will perhaps overlay some of your photos, with your permission, of you in your sort of office, so to speak, so that people can get an idea as to the kind of thing that you get up to quite often through the course of the months and year. But could you give an indication as to, as a climb, what would a typical climb when you're installing antennas or servicing on a tower might be? And typically what those heights above ground would be?
Yeah, well, it's different, but if you're working, for example, in Vienna, the typical climbs are somewhere on the roof on some small towers, which are in the range from 6 to 12 meters, something like that. If you're on the countryside outside of the city, the people are having, so let's say in this area at least, or mostly, there's also like 12-meter to 25-meter towers can be guide or they are guide or freestanding. There are not so many crank caps like in England. what I hear. So here there are some, but not so many. And yeah, traveling around the world, I did experience the let's say mostly in the contest stations they're much more high towers, so which are installed, and let's say typically if I can say normal hams are in the range something from 12 to 25 meters, so that's like a standard. And usually the works are rotator repairs or cable fixing. It's like daily job. Yeah. Sometimes, of course, replacing antennas and putting some new stuffs. But in the general, the people having troubles with rotators and the cables. That's, I would say, the probably, let's say, daily work. What to happen if it is something else? It's like I would not say unusual, but it doesn't fit so in. It's usually a bigger project than which is not happening daily.
Right, I see. So I guess what a lot of people don't realize, especially if they've got, you mentioned about the crank up. I have a tilt over crank up 3-section lattice, so it makes it a little bit easier for me. But I guess what people don't appreciate is that even a dud connection or watering coax, if somebody's got, say, in the US, for example, a lot of them I think are under 200-foot towers, because you have to have the aviation warning light above the 200, so they're generally under that. But if you've got an antenna up at, say, 175 feet and you get water in the coax, that's quite a big job, right?
Yeah, well, I don't have a problem with the height, so climbing anywhere it's okay, and in general I always say let me say that in a different way. Over the years, I did lots of talks about climbing and about height of towers and so on. So in a general, it's a dangerous work, and if you fall down, it doesn't matter. It's 175 or whatsoever. So you're gonna be hurt. So
yeah, right.
This is I can imagine, when I speak to the people and they ask, how it is, and then when I say, I don't know, whatever it is, yeah, and they say, wow, and you're not scared. I say, it's like I don't know, going to the bathroom. It doesn't matter.
So you mentioned that it's about being all over the world. What are some of the most remote countries that you've been to climb towers?
I think it is probably Cape Verde, D4. I was there many times as well for contesting and also doing some works. And I think first time I was there in 2013 for a contest, and 2015 I was renewing the antennas. And that QTH is on Top Hill location.
This is
and it's
D4C, is that right?
it's a D4C, yeah,
Yeah.
and it's very, very windy. So it's probably let's say I would say even toughest place I ever saw for
Oh, really?
antennas. Yeah.
Good stuff. So, um, I believe that you were in the UK with a mutual client recently. Have you had much in the way of activity or work in the UK today?
If I can say that, unfortunately not. I was only once there, and that was I think beginning of this year or end of the last. So I might do not recall exactly. And that was my first and only work in the United Kingdom I have done till now. Maybe it's subject to change.
Yeah, sure. Well, I think part of the problem is he's getting planning permission these days.
Yeah.
So it's
There was another work in the UK, but it was not connected. It was commercial job, but it was not connected directly to the ham radio and the climbing the tower. There was some plans how to set up the tower there, and a little bit funny story, interesting and a little bit complicated, but more or less it was only. How to say I was there to see the possibilities and to say if the idea is good or not, and after reviewing all that stuff, so the client decided to do nothing, let's say like
right.
that.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess another aspect that perhaps is missed when people are looking at a job like climbing towers is not just the physical exertion that's involved and potentially getting tired midway or after a period of time when you're up at some height, but also getting the equipment and what it is that you're taking up to install or repair up there as well, which obviously can be quite heavy at times as well. Is that something that takes a bit of getting used to, or do you need to prepare for that?
Well, of course, it's a very physical job, let's say like that, but not only. So over the time, of course, I did learn a lot. If I compare when I start climbing tower, although before I start to do the works, and when I compare it now, so there is a much difference according to the ways how to do it. So you are getting smarter. You try to save the energy and so on and so on. Of course, you learn some tricks, but anyhow, there are many situations when you need to be extremely fit, and I would say even strong.
Mm.
And um, equipment did change over the years. I can say, let's say, as well. I would say in the last probably with the mobile phone boom, let's say like that, when people start to claim the tower much more here in Europe than before. As well, the regulation did change. So now is let's say if you're working for commercial companies, there are so many rules what you need to follow and so many exams you need to do. Otherwise, you are not allowed to do it. But in general, it's uh, it doesn't matter if you take the tools, if you take some stuff that you want to install and so on. There are of course uh, tricks with the pulling the stuffs and how to work with the ropes and so on and so on. I did invest over the years. Well, let's say lots of time and with the I can say in the real world it's education.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the you mentioned about the obviously having to be fit and strong, and that's one of the areas that I guess or side interests that we both share, which is the gym, and you're particularly into CrossFit, which obviously is very taxing. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I was doing sports, let's say for a long time. So everything around. And in my late 30s, I did gain lots of weight. So, and even I was like active, still doing some climbing, and that was in one particular moment subject to change. Then I start with the CrossFit. That was when I was 39 or 40, something like that. Now I'm 15, so 10 years ago, on a regular basis. I still doing it, maybe not so excessive like till 2018, 19, something like that. And but I'm spending regular time at least, so 3-4 times at least per week in the gym. I'm focused me a little bit more now to the weightlifting, but the CrossFit is still part of the game, and it does help a lot doing this work. Definitely, yes.
Good stuff, and obviously having to eat healthy to match the
Yeah,
exercise as well.
oh, of course. Everyone who is doing the sport, he knows, the food, sleep is I would say even more important than
Right. Yeah.
exercising. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the sort of 90% of the time outside of the gym, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
so if firstly there isn't any restrictions, or there are restrictions on where you can travel to provide your services, or have you got a fairly open book as far as where you can travel to in the world?
Yeah, well, everything is how to say. We need all the time to find let's say some easy way how to buy the services, and how can I accept the job to fit into regulations of the country,
Hmm.
which was till now not the problem. So there are rules, and they needs to be everyone needs to obey them. And so I didn't have any problems even traveling to some countries like I don't know, in Saudi Arabia and so on. It was on the beginning a little bit difficult, but on the end we could find the right solution how to deal with it, and what is needs to be done to get everything regular in a regular way. Otherwise, let's say I'm still I don't know how long, but I'm still open to travel anywhere. I'm curious, and I need to say those travels did brought me to very nice places all over the world, and
Yeah.
it is always nice to see, the other culture, other countries, and so on. It's just you need to use the opportunity if you have it.
Yeah. So you raise another question actually talking about Saudi Arabia. I would think that probably there's certain times of the year you can do that, because obviously it's too hot for a stand or for a start to be outside. But secondly, the metal work must get extremely hot as well, right?
Yeah, well, it's during the summer it's very hot, so the temperature are going, let's say, well over 45 degrees centigrade.
Right.
So uh, I was there during the summer, and mostly I would not say during our winter, but it was so in March and September, October. So that was, but I was there as well in August. So
Wow.
it's a hot. It's not easy to work. We did work very frequently during the night, so with the lights, and yeah, it's you need to adapt it. Even I can. The good thing, of course, it's a huge country, and I was mostly on the western side of the country in the Jeddah, and it's let's say they are dry, of course, but it's close to the sea, so the humidity is not so big. So, and this is maybe a little bit of
Help.
how to say advantage if
Yeah.
you look to that.
So if anyone has the need or the wish to be able to have somebody that can provide services like yourselves, how would they best contact you?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's that's a good question. Well, I started my job through the communities and through, let's say, kind of. I'm very active on Facebook, and this is, I think, the platform which is connects. I don't know, probably the most of the ham radio operators everywhere in the particular groups. So I'm very easy to find there. Of course, people know me. They can found my email address as well on qrz.com, and then the email is probably the best way how to contact, and everything else is done easy.
So we can put your QRZ page and email address in the comments below.
Of course. You can. I can give you as well other personal data. We did spoke just before we start the conversation about the website. I never did that. Lazy maybe, probably yes. But to be honest, there was no need to do that, and I don't think so. It will be nice presentation of something, but I had some plans, and I was all the time thinking about, should I go more into sales or not? And this is the point where you say, okay, without proper website, you cannot do the sales, and then you start to think about a web shop and so on and so on. And this is something actually I would like to avoid, because I went from the sales, and because it was no fun. It was a different time, let's say like that. So as now, so today everyone is into just sales, big amount of everything, and this is something I would like to avoid. Let's say like that.
Sure. Yeah. Okay, Braco. Look, it's been a pleasure, and thank you very much for your time this morning. Well, I'll put whatever details that you want contact-wise on to the post as well, which will come onto YouTube with a snippet on Facebook. So I guess for now it's the QRZ and Facebook would be the ways to get hold of you to start off with. But if we can put that email address on there as well, then we'll do that for you as well. So again, thanks very much for your time.
Thank you very much to you, and it was my pleasure to be your guest.
Great stuff. Thank you.